Oh, hey, we're live. I didn't see you there. What's up? Just been over here, taking a gander through all of America's just fucking political ass bullshit. You know what I'm talking about. Like, fuck Dr. Fauci. You know what I mean? Dead ass. Fuck Dr. Fauci. It's everywhere, bro. I can't get away from it, dude. It's trying to come over here and fucking just trying to freaking trying to prep and shit for the stream. And we're just on here. And I was actually watching this live actually this morning for quite a bit. We're going to get into some of that, but it'll be all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. What's up? What's up? Who's up in here? How's it going, everybody? What's goody in the hoodie? We are live. I love you, homie. What's up, dude? All right, we got some things to get onto today. So first and foremost, before we even actually start, let me go ahead and just drop the YouTube link straight into Facebook. So if you guys wanted to come over and hang out on YouTube instead of Facebook, we could do that. So let me just grab the link for you. I'm going to drop it in the Facebook chat right now. I'm going to drop it up in there. I'm going to actually pin that to the top of the chat. We don't have nobody up in here yet. It's all right. It's a Wednesday afternoon, bro. What's up, Queen Trip? Queen Trip's up in the house. Let's go. I'm pretty sure our dryer got fixed today. Let's go. The kids are gone. They're all at their friend's house. Woo. Shit. Shit, dude. Shit. Oh, did you guys see this? Oh, wait a second. Let me get a drink of coffee real fast. Oh, yeah. There's a plug right there for Tripoverdrip mug. It's pretty dope. I'm pretty excited about that Tripoverdrip mug, dude, if I'm being honest with you. All the Cletuses are gone. Yes. The oldest Cletus was like, I guess I want to go. I don't want to have a sleepover, but I want to go hang out. So I'm like, yeah, get out of here, boy. Let me show that again for all y'all who are. Lacey Lane, what's up? How are you? What's up? How are you feeling, sis? You feeling all right? I hope so. Dude, we got some shit to get into, and then we're gonna get back into this freaking what's it? Mind Unveiled. We're gonna continue on. Team Human, what's up? What's up? What's up, dude? Let me just drop this, drop that, hit that, hit this, do that. Cause I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. People don't like the fact I say retarded. They don't like that I also say gay. It's all right. I don't really give a shit. What's goodie? Did you guys see the new Tripoverdrip mug, dude? Check that out. Tripoverdrip.shop. New Stanley Cup doing that up on there, bro. Tripoverdrip 20 ounce Stanley, drinking that Boffin Toffin Skofsky right out of there. Tripoverdrip.shop. Let me just show you. Let me just show you. I can see all obstacles in my way. Right there. There it is. Them two Tripoverdrip mugs, dude. I hit that old nostalgia right there, bro. What's up? What's up, Carmen? What's up, Carmen? Nathan Thomas, what's up? Jazzy Jade, what's up? Tripoverdrip.shop, bro. Grab yourself your own little freaking Tripoverdrip mug, bro. Isn't that dope? I just made it today. We got all the supplies in. So if you have merch that's already been purchased, it will all be made tomorrow during the day before tomorrow night's stream. Because tomorrow night, Thursday evenings, every Thursday evening, the stream is in the evening. Because I just want to be able to get everybody throughout the day. Monday mornings are first thing in the morning. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday are like midday. And then Thursdays is in the evening. It's kind of a weird, wonky schedule, but it works for me. But like I said, yeah. What do you think the purpose of life is? Oh, we're getting into that nitty gritty already, dude. First of all, you better go get yourself a Tripoverdrip 20 ounce stainless steel Stanley, bro. Tripoverdrip, sick. I'll just drop it in the chat. Fuck it. I'll drop the link in the chat for everybody, so you can just see it now. Tripoverdrip.shop. You can't tell me that little Stanley right there, bro, ain't fire, bro. That shit's fire, bro. Okay. What do I think the purpose of life is? Fuck, that's a heavy question. Do you got a few hours? Because we're gonna... Yeah, we are live. Joseph, what's up? Dude, what's up? You're going to get one Friday? Hell yeah, tripoverdrip.shop. Okay, so let's just do a little quick synopsis. We'll get into some stuff, but I want to just answer Jade's question real fast. She said, what is the purpose of life? Well, first you have to acknowledge what life is for you, that it's separate for everything else. That your perception of your human experience in this thing we call life, as we are eternal souls that have actually been around for all of time, because energy can never be destroyed, it can only be transformed. So that means that my soul or energy that's in animating my body has been around for all of time. Now, purposely and specifically for this period of time on planet Earth, I think that possibly I have chosen to incarnate this time. I think that was different from some other times that I was incarnated on planet Earth. I have currently been on this planet since this incarnation for 38 rotations around the sun. You notice how I didn't even say anything about my age? It's because I'm eternal. I'm not bound by this human experience. My soul and consciousness have been around for a long time. I've been on Earth for 38 rotations around the sun. And so I've come to realize that the purpose of this life for me specifically might be different than what it is for everybody else. When maybe purpose is just the baseline of why you are here, is to actually find your specific purpose, not ask the question, what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life, obviously, is because the source of all things, God, consciousness, the matrix, the code, whatever runs the system. When I say matrix in this context, I'm meaning like at a subatomic level, what the particles are doing to render this reality that we experience. I'm not talking about the matrix that controls every human on the planet through economics and usury and debt and propaganda and mind control. That's not in this topic, this conversation. The conversation I'm actually speaking of is the fact that we have quantum physics theories that say where my attention goes, energy flows, because the double slit experiment says that just my observation of something literally changes it from a wave to a particle, meaning that my intent and my attention actually changes reality around me. So with that being said, the purpose of life, for one, was that the creation of all, we are all one. We're all the same thing. We're all made out of the same particles. We might be individual because of our specific consciousness and our specific energy or soul that we bring with us from some other ulterior dimension, parallel or even congruent, coherent dimension with ours. I feel that deep within my soul that potentially consciousness as a whole, which would be one, the collective, if all of us were connected, that means we would be one. And the one that created everything wanted to know everything. That's why we were created, so that there could be trillions of fragmented consciousnesses out of the collective consciousness to perceive and experience things, so that potentially the one consciousness could know and experience everything there ever is to be known or experience. And the purposes of us being here is actually for us to, one, forget at birth, and then by the end of it, either one of two things happens. Hopefully all of these things happen, actually, but you've remembered why you're here, You have found a purpose of why you were here. And at the end of all of it, you're able to look back and see how hateful and dark and destructive the planet can be. And you still choose to be kind every day. And you still choose to help people that are in need. You still walk every single day with integrity. Because it's so easy to succumb to the mind control and the fear propaganda to try and control our soul and take source and nature and God away from us, you know? And they do that through your psychological chemical reactions that happen inside of your head when you feel feelings. That's why they target your feelings. That's why when you are watching your algorithm and then there's like a really, really, really sad video that you watch and they know that you're getting sad because the camera's watching your micro expressions on your face every 15 milliseconds or something. So when they notice that you're sad, the algorithm then chooses to show you an ad because when you're super emotional, you're more likely to make spontaneous choices. Anyways, yeah, let's get right into today. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? I was just vibing out. I just had a download or something. I don't know where all that shit came from. I just pulled it out of my booty. Tutti frutti on you. All right. So basically, this is the vibe for today. Okay. I'm sure you guys know that Dr. Fauci was in a deposition today talking about his role in the COVID pandemic, and we'll get into that. We're going to get into some stuff that happened on Candace Owens where she showed the 4K video. But first things first, we always, no matter where we go, no matter how far down the rabbit hole we go, after we watch some clips on X. So first things first, let me just explain this if this is your first time here. Hey, what's up? I'm live. Welcome in. How's it going? That's like the first thing that happens, right? What's up? What's up, everybody? How are you doing today? It's Tripoverdrip, the introduction type stuff, getting people to trickle up in here for X amount of minutes. And then right after, when I've got people all up in here, we do what I like to call a mindful message or an opening message, which is basically my way to try my best to make sure that no matter how long you stay on the stream, because we go down the craziest rabbit holes. And I'm sure there are content creators that all say the same thing. But in my perception, my experience, I go down the craziest rabbit holes while I have a camera and a microphone in front of me. And sometimes we just never know where we're going to end up. So in the beginning, every person that even clicks on my stuff, I want to at least attempt to give you something that you can take with you when you close out of the app or you exit out of the video or you turn your phone off or whatever it may be. So that's why I just want to give you something that your soul can take with you and hopefully impact you in a positive way. Because then we go and we just like trying to discern and figure out what's happening on the internet realm that we live in, this weird digital realm that the humans on planet Earth are all simultaneously living in a completely different dimension while also living in this third dimension. And most of the time, most of the humans living in this third dimension spend most of their time in this digital dimension. And so we just go onto X and we just like watch clips and just try and decipher the things that's going on the internet because everybody's looking at the internet, right? And then today over the last few days, we've been compiling some Jeffrey Epstein documents that I have a little pile of them. I want to go over them with you again and just recap everything that we've went over the last few days from watching these Mind Unveiled Epstein things. And then towards the end of it, we're going to get back up into the part 4 of this little Epstein Mind Unveiled YouTube documentary type stuff. Because at the end of the day, I like to learn new things. And I've come to realize since I started streaming, I like to bring people with me when I come to learn these things because it allows me to process the information that I'm getting in a more calm and congruent and straight and narrow way because I'm able to in real time have people with me that are watching the same thing. We can talk about our thoughts and think about our conversation and then come to a consensus together. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm just a human like you, bro, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on planet Earth. Everything we've ever been told is a lie, bro. It doesn't matter what it is. Space, yeah, they've lied about that shit a lot. The ocean, yeah, they lie about that shit. School and education, yeah, it's full of lies. Politics, yep, full of lies. Health and medicine, yep, full of lies. Yep. Mental health, yep, full of lies. God and Jesus and Krishna and Buddha and Mohammed. Yep, full of lies. The Temple of Set and Luciferianism and Freemasonry and how influenced the Illuminati actually probably is influenced into our life. Now, Illuminati is just like this crazy term that they just use for these, just like a blanket term for like woo-woo secret society type stuff. But if you've actually been on planet Earth for the last few years and you haven't went down the Freemason rabbit hole yet, bro, I'm sorry, because you probably know what fluoride tastes like. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. Please just stay with me. All right, who's up in here? What's up, gang? What's up, gang? What's up, man? Yeah, the card game. The card game? You guys know about this? The Illuminati card game? You better know about this stuff, bro. Better know about this stuff. It's just basically like this card game that was like created in the late 1900s, maybe 1970s, 80s, somewhere around there. And it's called the Illuminati card game. And then it basically just has like, it's like this card game that you play that you try to, I don't even know how the game is actually played, but I've looked at lots of these cards and almost every single one of them have come true. It's quite insane, actually. Sorry, just let me get a little drink out of the new Tripoverdrip mugs. Pretty sick. I don't know. I love coffee, bro. And so I'm just pretty stoked that I have my own coffee mug now, bro. This is the first one made. I got another design. It's got a little alien with flames and mushrooms and stuff. Yeah, pretty sick. Anyways, let's get into this mindful message today. What's up, guys? How are y'all doing today? Kind of all over the place, feeling antsy, bro. Dr. Fauci got me in a mood today, bro. I don't know. I don't necessarily say retarded all the time, but I said that shit a bunch today, bro. You know what I'm saying? Shit, dude. All right, let's get right into this. Cheers. Because what if the real question today isn't what's happening in the world? It's actually who am I choosing to be inside of my own life, knowing that I'm more than just this body, this mood, or the story I tell myself. If that landed anywhere already, you can just comment the words "I'm choosing consciously," so you can mark the moment that you stop letting the day decide who you are. Because every morning, before anything else touches us, we as humans are more than just a human on a schedule. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, waking up into another 24 hours where you, and unfortunately it's only you, get to decide. Am I going to live this day on autopilot as a bundle of habits and reactions? Or am I just going to live today as someone who remembers that their deeper identity is there and chooses from that place? Because most people never even ask that. They wake up and immediately identify with the surface, the body, the notifications, the to-do list, the first emotion. They forget that there is a watcher behind the thoughts, a presence behind the story, an essence identity that is not limited to what can be seen or even measured. That forgetting is what keeps life small. Because if you think you're only a reaction machine, you're going to live like one. But if you remember that you are awareness, consciousness, a soul, whatever word you choose to use, you realize that you have agency. You can notice your patterns, but still choose differently. And intentional living starts right there. At its core, intentional living begins with awareness. Awareness of who you actually are at your deepest levels, how far your daily choices drift from the truth, how often you let old programming run a life that was meant to be more awake. So here's the truth I want to say, hopefully to shake you to your core. You're not just a human trying to have an occasional spiritual moment. You are a spiritual being trying to remember who you are while you live a human life. And if you forget that, one time, one day at a time, your day becomes more about survival. If you remember that, your day becomes more about expression of love instead of just fear, expression of truth instead of just noise, presence instead of just performance. So when you ask yourself, who am I choosing to be today? You're not just picking a mood, bro. You're choosing how much of your deeper self that you're going to allow to show up today. You might still feel tired. You might still feel frustrated. You're going to feel uncertain. But underneath those feelings is a steady awareness that can say, I see you, and I still choose how I will act, speak, and think. That is some spiritual meat right there, bro. You are not just your first thought. You are the one who can see your thoughts. You are not your worst day. You are the one that can learn from your worst day and choose differently tomorrow. You are not your past programming. You are the one that can interrupt that with truth. If you let that sink in, you can comment, I'm more than just my story, so you can stop confusing your narrative with your actual essence. Because once you grasp even a little of your true identity, everything changes, bro. You stop asking, why am I like this? You start asking, why am I living like this when I'm not actually this limited? You stop saying, this is just who I am. And you start admitting, this is just how I've been acting. You stop treating your patterns like destiny. You start treating them like choices. Hard choices, yes, but they're still choices. That's the wake up with love, bro. Love that refuses to let you hide behind, that's just me. Love that refuses to let you excuse every reaction is uncontrollable. Refuses to let you stay small when your spirit knows you were built for more. And intentional spirituality, awake life asks you this daily. If I am truly a spiritual being having a human experience, then how should I live this human day? On autopilot, repeating what drains you? Or with intention, expressing what's the truest me? And that's going to show up in so many different and practical ways. Before you speak, you remember your words carry energy, not just information. Before you react, you remember that you're not just your anger, your fear, or your insecurity. Before you choose, you ask if this choice aligns with my deeper self so that you know that there is something there beneath the noise. Intentional living is not about perfection, bro. It's simply just about deliberate choices that move you closer to who you really are. Truth that's going to shake you, hopefully. And if it does, can you please just comment the words Team Human? You are always practicing being someone. The question is whether you're practicing the self your soul recognizes or the self that your habits invented. Your life is not shaped by what happens to you. It is shaped deeply by who you choose to keep being in response. Every single day, you either reinforce the lie that I'm just this human story, or you reinforce the truth. I am more, and I can always choose a more aligned way to live. And if that stings, let it. Sometimes truth has to shake you before it can free you. So let today be the day that you stop asking only, what's going on out there? And you start asking, what am I living as in here? Am I living as a scared version of myself, a numbed out version of myself, a reactive version of myself? Or am I living as a conscious, present, spiritually awake version? Someone who remembers that they are more than the noise and then they choose accordingly. You don't have to nail all of it right from the beginning. You just have to start choosing. It's really that simple. Just choose something different. One thought redirected. One reaction slowed down. One decision made from your deeper or higher self instead of autopilot. That's how you shake your life from the inside out. Because ultimately, your days will not be defined by only what you went through. They'll be defined on who you kept choosing to be, knowing that you are a spiritual being, not just a storyline. And with that, It's simple. You will stop living as a reflex, and you will start living as the soul that you actually are. I love you, Team Human. Damn, bro. Fire, 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 fire. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Who's up in here, dude? Who's up in here, dude? Who's up in here? Live streaming is so fun, bro. I'm being dead ass, bro. I just love it. I just fucking love it, dude. For some reason, I've just like created this space where I feel that I can just be as weird as fuck. You know, because it's like, even though like there's people on the other side of the camera, it still energetically kind of feels like I'm by myself. So if I'm completely by myself, I don't know. There's just like a peaceful feeling when I'm live streaming. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, bro. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, we're getting into some shit today, okay? We got a lot of shit to cover before we even get to the fucking Epstein stuff, bro. You guys ready for this? Can we just get some aliens in the chat if y'all ready for this, gonna be here for this? First and foremost, let's just bring you right up over here. You guys remember this? Last September, Governor Cox said that Tyler Robinson changed his clothes on the roof. Play.
Can you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits? Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested.
Okay, that's all I wanted you guys to hear. To be honest, was I wanted you to hear this fucking piece of shit lie to you straight to your face and tell you that he changed clothes on the roof, because we are going to watch the footage ourselves, and you can tell me if you actually believe if he changed his clothes on the roof. Shout out Candace Owens. She's the one that dropped this footage yesterday for everybody to analyze. We're just going to give her the full 6 minutes in entirety. Okay? Thank you, Vox. Love you, bro. I appreciate you, bro.
This limp that he has in the footage is...
You're right. There is... Didn't they say that? It is true as shit. They were showing all of these images of these people in these parking garages and walking downstairs and trying to depict the fact that this individual supposedly had a fucking rifle like down his pant leg, and that's why he was limping, right? Well, let's just let Candace talk.
It's completely removed. So let's watch that. Okay.
Well, doesn't look like he has a limp right there. Now
begins a tactical crawl. It's actually known in the military as a lateral crawl. Let's watch that. There he goes. And I actually do want to show you side by side so you can actually see a real military man do that alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side by side clip. Here we go. That general action right there is known as a lateral crawl. Now, you may have noted if you're just looking at your eye.
Okay. First thing I have to say, they are saying that Tyler Robinson was a lone shooter. To be honest, I would not anticipate the average person crawling like that. I don't know. You tell me. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm just here to talk about what I see and how I feel. You're the one that gets to decide at the end of the day. Because I believe in Bigfoot, bro. So probably and most likely everything I say is fabricated with conspiracies. So you probably shouldn't trust anything I say. You should just do your own research. And if it vibrates and it applies, let it, and it doesn't apply, then let it fly. But you tell me.
Some sort of a flash that just took place, right? We're going to show you that slowed down and just kind of discuss this. We've gone back and forth here. What is that? Is he pulling something out? Is it like a signal mirror? Is it a flag? Was it already on Losey Center? Is it actually something that's in the background that's just catching weird? Is it a car? And we're just thinking that we see this flash, but we're just going to show you that so that it's clear. Back and forth flash there while he's military crawling. Here we go. There, and we're running that back and forth there. Okay, so you now have that. Next up, what you are going to see is that it's going to look as though, as he gets into position and completes this lateral crawl, that he thrusts something forward in a way that my brain told me it looked like he was unfolding a gun. Truly, that's what my brain told me. Maybe it's because I had this guy and told me about a fold AR. I don't know. It's not definitive. That's me narrating. I'm happy for people to disagree and debate what is seen. But let's just watch that portion here. There we go. Something forward. And we can watch that again. Something forward. Again. But more importantly than what we see here is what we're not going to see here. So remember, this is supposed to be a German 98 Mauser family heirloom gun used during World War I and World War II. That'll effectively take your shoulder out when it's fired. Even the newer models, if you go watch people shooting, they're like, oh, my shoulder. And if you're looking through a scope, as he allegedly was, you might even expect a black eye. You will recall that the guy who recorded the footage specifically told us that he saw no recoil. That's pretty crucial. He just saw the guy get up and run. And that would be, I would argue, or a lawyer in court, that would be impossible for this specific naked model of gun. So let's watch and see if we, with our eyes, can observe some sort of a kickback. And again, I have to apologize. This is not like Benny Johnson 4K footage, but it's at least clear enough here on your screen that you would be able to discern a strong kickback on a gun from somebody who's just laying down, taking a shot. So I'm going to let this run. It's about 50 seconds. And you just let me know if at any point you see that before he gets up and breaks into a sprint. Take a look. There you go. That's that unfolding again. And by the way, if you are listening to this in audio, this is one of these episodes that you actually do have to go watch. So you will have to pivot over to YouTube, to Spotify, somewhere that provides the video, because this is not something that we could just produce on an audio podcast here, unfortunately. But this is going to run. We did have to obviously zoom in and push out those fed timestamps, but see here, I have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up.
Okay, so the thing is I wasn't even looking for what Candace Owens was looking for, that there was no actual recoil, there was no flash from the barrel of the gun after the firing of the bullet. But we weren't actually looking for that, because the other clip that we were watching, right? The other clip we were watching was Governor Cox saying that he changed his clothes on the roof. I don't think I recall him doing any of that. Maybe we need just a little bit of a little bit of a recap. Let her play the whole thing one more time.
Anybody? Anybody see a recoil? I didn't see one, but let's actually put that footage all together uninterrupted. Here we go for you guys to watch. He comes running on to the rooftop. What we know definitively is he gets down into what is known as a lateral military crawl. He begins that crawl over to the right first and then to the left. We see a quick flash. We're not sure what that flash is. Actually, it looks like, I'm not going to read into it. There's that throw forward. I say fold forward, you can say throw forward, but that's definitely something being flung forward, getting into position. And here we wait for what we expect to be some sort of a kickback. Must have been when our source began recording from the side of a Pelosi building and said, oh, I just saw someone get up there. Got a gun. And he's up. And he's gone.
You tell me, did he change his clothes? I'm just being honest. I don't think he changed his clothes on the top of the roof right there. So let's just go ahead and just, shout out Real Bays, friend of the show. Me and him are going to link up soon. Yeah, Real Bays. Let's hear what Real Bays has to say. Because to be honest, I resonate with what he's about to say 100.
Reason for people to believe that this is a professional hit job.
Like Benny Johnson, he should just hook up with Erica Kirk. I feel like they're a match made in hell.
We pray for justice here.
Oh, do you? You pray for justice here?
High definition quality video, 4K.
The best footage. I can't even tell. It's so blurry. How did they make out Tyler Robinson's face on this? Where's the rifle?
There is reason for people to believe that this
exactly. What? He changed his clothes and had a rifle? Weird. Oh, now we're getting into this. Peace out, Lawrence. I love you, bro. Oh, we were just looking at Tyler Robinson take the shot. You know what I mean? Or that's what they want us to believe. Allegedly, that was the 4K footage of Tyler Robinson climbing on the roof and taking the shot to Charlie Kirk. Yeah. Now we're going to listen to some Dr. Fauci stuff, bro. I'm sorry, but it happened today. We'll move this one for the last one. We're going to just hear these people just wreck Dr. Fauci. Because as you know, well, let's just give this one little clip. Who the fuck do you think you are?
I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who is more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
We have learned that U.S. coronavirus researchers at UNC shipped, quote, humanized or transgenic mice to China by around 2017 for use.
I just had a question. What's humanized mice? What? Like the stuff Epstein was doing was like with like cloning? Is that a homunculus? A humanized mice means like human and mice DNA mixed? What in the fuck? What is a humanized mice or what is a humanized mice or a transgenic mice? What is that?
Sure, let me break that down quickly. A transgenic mouse is a mouse that has had its genes deliberately modified. Scientists insert or alter genes to study their function or model human diseases. A humanized mouse is a special type of transgenic.
Whoa. Please don't tell me you're about to tell me that they mix mice genetics and DNA to make them more human so that they can test human viruses on the mice.
I can see why that idea might feel unsettling. In reality, scientists sometimes modify mice genetically to study human diseases, but it's done under strict ethical guidelines to improve our understanding and treatments.
Okay, so my question is, how is that ethical, though? If we're literally creating some sort of hybridized mice that has human characteristics, like listen to what you just said to me, that has they've edited the genes of mice to make them more human so that they could test human viruses on them.
I hear that this feels unsettling. The idea of modifying animals for research definitely raises ethical questions. Scientists use humanized or transgenic mice to better understand diseases and develop treatments because these mice can mimic human responses.
Can we get hashtag save the lab mice? You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds fucking insane to me, bro. That sounds insane, bro. I'm telling you, it's the homunculus, bro. Oh my God, bro. Imagine what these human mice look like, bro. It's like Ratatouille, huh? He's like all cooking and shit for all the fucking researchers. What the fuck? That's insane, bro. You know what I mean? You gotta really think about this. You know, there's like, where's fucking PETA or whatever that fucking group's called? You know what I mean? The group that like saves the animals, bro. How come lab mice aren't ever fucking talked about? How come you know what I'm saying? Like, there's never any type of people fighting for the ethics of like mice that are used for experiments. They're still animals, bro. And they just like mass breed them so that they just have like an unlimited supply. It's kind of gross.
And their dangerous corona. We have learned that U.S. coronavirus researchers at UNC shipped, quote, humanized or transgenic mice to China by around 2017 for use in their dangerous coronavirus work. Under your NIAID coronavirus, researchers also used aborted baby body parts in mice research, and taxpayers paid for them to do that. NIH-funded coronavirus researcher Dr. Ralph Barrick and his colleagues at UNC put parts of livers, thymuses, and chunks of human fetal lung that they got from aborted, almost 5-month-old human babies. They put those parts in their research mice. They disgustingly named them BLT mice and wrote they had created a, quote, sandwich of aborted body parts in the mice. Get it, folks? BLT. A BLT sandwich.
See, I mean, what the shit, bro? What's up, chemtrails? You keep just, for some reason, just jumped up in here and wanted to just spread spontaneous negativity and just like call me names and just say what I'm saying is stupid. Let's move on. I don't understand where or why you're even here. I mean, you don't have to sit here and watch my live, bro. But you did call me a mug. I don't understand what that is, but I do have this new Tripoverdrip mug. If you go to tripoverdrip.shop, you could probably get one. You know what I'm saying? Brand new, dropped on the site today. I hope you get one. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
2014. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
What he's about to say is literally what he said. What he's about to say is literally the response he gave for every single question that he was asked, even if what day it is, what color the carpet is there a folder in front of you? He responded this exact way.
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
Okay, so you want me to make a point, bro? The point is that we just watched the deep state plead the fifth. There are rules and regulations regarding the fact that he was given a pardon. That means that he can't plead the fifth. He's already been given a pardon, so there can't be any sort of criminal case. That's what a pardon is. So he can't come up in here and plead the fifth. Pleading the fifth prevents you from self-incriminating yourself. How can he self-incriminate himself when he's been given a pardon? You know what I'm saying? If I were to commit a crime and then taken into an interrogation room and ask questions about the crime I committed, I could plead the fifth. Or if I was on the stand testifying about someone else and it was information that would give the prosecutors information so that they could charge me with a crime, I can plead the fifth to refuse to answer anything that is self-incriminating. But if I had a pardon already, why am I worried about self-incriminating myself because my pardon is already in place? So, homie just said, guess what? Because you have a pardon, you can't come up in here and deny the fact that deny to answer everything. He's saying, I'm going to connect with the Department of Justice and give you a charge. So basically, he chose voluntarily to walk up in here and choose jail, basically, over truth. He's like, you know what I mean? He can't say really anything, because if he says anything, then a whole bunch of people are going to go to jail. You didn't see the thing where this dude, Randy Fine, literally kicks out Fauci's lawyer, bro? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is another clip of old fucking Don Juan pedo fawn. Just kidding. That's all allegedly. I don't know. I just look it up I just looked at the files myself. And unfortunately, if you have 10 allegations that you abuse children or hurt women, after like maybe, 1, you could be like, yeah, they were making that shit up. 3, you could be like, dang, bro, someone may be targeting you. But 10, 8, 7 times people are like, yeah, that dude is a graper. Regardless of whether there's information to say that that person is a graper, you have to acknowledge that there is probably a high probability that there's not all of these people are lying. But I'll just let this douchebag tell you what he's going to tell you. He's basically telling you that he doesn't give a shit about your children. We're fighting wars, bro. We don't care about your kids.
States can't take care of data. States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it, too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up for, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal.
Whoa. Okay, so the reason I wanted to bring this up, okay, let's just take a little question. Okay, so I just want to get my facts straight, okay? And I've heard a whole bunch of different information, but I heard somewhere that every single missile that America launches costs like multiple high 100 million. Sometimes, like, you know, they fire the rocket launcher fires 7 missiles at a time. So like, what is the cost? Like, supposedly because the taxpayers obviously are paying for these missiles to even be built and all of that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. What is the actual cost for like these regularly high frequently used missiles? Because as you may know, America, we're currently in war. So I'm just trying to get the correct information.
I found some current figures for different types of U.S. missiles. For example, a PAC-3 MSE missile costs around $4 million each. Tomahawk cruise missiles are generally reported between $2 and $3.6 million each, depending on the version. THAAD interceptor missiles can cost about $15.5 million each. Even a relatively lower-cost PRSM missile is about $1.6 million each. Costs vary widely depending on the missile and its capability.
Okay, so do we have any information about how many total missiles have been launched since the start of the war with Iran?
Here's what I found on the number of missiles launched by the U.S. since the start of the war with Iran. According to a Washington Post report summarized by CSIS, U.S. naval assets fired more than 850 Tomahawk cruise missiles in the first month alone.
So if those Tomahawk cruise missiles cost like upwards to like $3 million, can you please just give me a quick, just little number what that total cost is?
Sure thing. If we assume each Tomahawk missile costs around $3 million and the U.S. fired more than 850 in the first month of the conflict, that would total roughly 850 times $3 million, which comes out to about $2.55 billion.
Weird. So for $2.5 billion, if we weren't firing these missiles, maybe, you know, the federal government and the state governments could even have the ability to assist in taking care of the children that our citizens are creating, which that seems like it's being taken from us. You know what I'm saying? It just seems so fucking, it's just gross, bro. And you're right. I did vote for this fucking piece of shit. Everybody has a wake-up call. Everybody makes mistakes. It's the only fucking time I ever voted in my entire life. Okay? And it's because I was up against the transgender machine in Kamala. It was either Trump or that. And unfortunately, I don't vibrate in that energy. I have no problems or any hostility towards any human at all, actually. I don't care what other humans choose to do with their life and their body as long as it doesn't affect me, my children, my wife, my home, my animals, the people I love, other humans just in general. As long as it doesn't affect anybody in a negative manner, I don't really have a problem with it. So you're right. I was brainwashed. The fucking Donald Trump propaganda did get me. I've said it repeatedly. I'm never voting for president again, bro. That shit doesn't matter because they're all part of the same ass bird. As we're about to get into and show, I'm about to show you the bird that runs the show. Okay? The bird that's running it all, buddy. Buddy? Oh, buddy pal. Oh, buddy pal. What about this, huh? Let's just look at some of these. Let me see here. Weird. What's this one? Why is Richard Merkin reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein asking him for cloning updates? That's a weird one. Do you know what he's talking about when he's forwarding something to Jeffrey Epstein about savant syndrome? Yeah, that's like a something that happens to human when they're traumatized, that they sometimes and somehow get like special abilities from the trauma being so impactful on their consciousness that it causes their consciousness to fracture, and all of a sudden they are just like superhuman in certain areas. It makes you think of the trauma and the trafficking in a little bit different of an aspect if they're actually using the trauma itself to find people who may or may not have psychic abilities. You know, it's just weird to me when I was we're looking through these files. Why is there an Epstein file in the documents for this movie, The Wicker Man? This is literally about a man on an island that abuses girls. You know? Epstein started with two main sources of money. Epstein was very close with Ghislaine Maxwell on all aspects, legal and illegal. Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, oh yeah, that's the guy who created all of our textbooks in America, was a very wealthy Israeli intelligence Mossad agent who died in the 1980s after falling overboard in his yacht. It was widely suspected, allegedly, that he was assassinated. Maxwell was very close to Epstein and is currently being prosecuted for helping him groom young girls to have sex with visitors to Epstein's estate. Epstein's operation lured some of the most powerful and influential people in the world to his home, where they had the opportunity to have intercourse with young girls in lavish situations that would be recorded in some way that could be used to control and extort non-cooperators as needed in the future. The American billionaire and founder of Limited Brands, Leslie Wexner, mind you, he also is on, they also have stuff about him on record talking about how he is possessed with a demon. Yeah, that Leslie Wexner that was answering in the deposition, and when he was saying too much, his lawyer literally leaned over to him and said, if you say more than 5 words, I'm going to kill you. You remember when he said that? That Leslie Wexner. Wexner formed close relationships with Epstein in the 1980s and became his primary benefactor. Wexner let Epstein run his business from one of his homes. Oh, wait, yeah, the New York Manhattan townhouse, the same one that freaking Palm Beach Pete just purchased, or at least is trolling the internet saying that he's going to purchase Jeffrey Epstein's estate. Wait, Alan Dershowitz? Oh, weird. Professor Alan Dershowitz, which was Epstein's lawyer, who's still free to this day, who was a staunch Jewish Zionist with suspected connections to Mossad. Wait, there's like supposed alleged connections saying that Epstein worked for Mossad. So Epstein worked for Mossad, and then Mossad also had like connections within the lawyers. Crazy. Let me just bring this part up right here, okay? Right here. They're talking right here. They have achieved breakthroughs in mind uploading, using AI and large data sets to create functional portraits of existing personalities. Or how about this one? This is one of my favorite ones. Oh no, I lost the document, dude. Where's the back button, bro? Fuck, dude. Oh yeah, that's the Zodiac one. Here's fucking the one that's to Boris Nikolic talking about being initiated into the Brotherhood and using chanting and robes and blindfolds and candlelights. Crazy. How about this one? Thanks, Jeff. You asked for fun projects. I think we're mostly starving for great conspiracies today. 10 to 12 person coordinated secrets. What about a new Rosicrucianism of sorts? A Jejune Institute. Then a link. Style blurred reality fiction negging of your enemies would be pretty damn fun. What are your thoughts about funding your own intelligence agency? Weird. He was creating his own intelligence agency. What about him correcting Steve Bannon on the spelling of Yahweh and using and talking about, in the aspect of having information and knowledge about Kabbalah? Love being a junior partner to the chosen people of Yahweh. And then he corrects him. He says Yahweh. Like Mish, Agas. You have to get the spelling right. And then he's referring to him saying that, hey, I love being a junior partner. He's definitely saying, not sure Beelzebub is considered a junior partner. If you don't know anything about occult symbolism or any occult lore or just historic lore about demons and devils and gods. And it's saying, I'm not sure that Beelzebub is considered a junior partner. Kind of crazy, bro. Basically saying like, no, Steve Bannon. Calling Steve Bannon Beelzebub. I'm not sure if we would consider you a junior partner, more like outside counsel. Kind of crazy. What about this one? This one's kind of crazy. To Jeffrey Epstein from Mark Fisher. What are your thoughts about our conversation remediation? Actually, it's not that hard. Why? A Jewish soul is a very different structure, different ingredients and components. Relates it to its higher levels differently, has different higher levels, relates to itself and other people in a different manner more than the non-Jewish soul. To use repair methods and meditation on something as sensitive as a soul requires the right tools. You cannot fix an Aston Martin with a Ford pickup truck tool set. With the right meditation, it isn't so hard. I just want to shout out this guy that's just tripping on me over here in Facebook, just she's trying to get a reaction out of me, bro. It's quite funny if I'm being honest. You joined my live stream. If you don't like what I'm doing on my live stream, you don't have to be here. It actually shows more about you that you would just come up onto my live stream and just try and like attack me and call me names, trying to get me to react to you or to get pissed off or say something negative or hurtful towards you. I'm more or less just confused, and I actually am just starting to think that you're probably a bot. And if you're not a bot, you could possibly just be paid propaganda, or maybe, you know, the fact that my name has been searched in Israel a bunch of times, you could just be doing their work. I don't know what it could be. But most of the time, I just don't understand how anybody who doesn't have an ulterior motive to just get on people's social media platforms and for no reason, we've never even spoken before, and you just start attacking me and attacking my character and calling me names. You're probably, and people like you are a huge factor of why we're in a position we are on planet Earth, is because for some reason, the propaganda and the programming that the Matrix is spewing out is just creating this underlying hatred that people all across the planet are just feeling for no reason. They don't love themselves, bro. They don't love themselves, and it bothers them so much that the only way that they can feel better about themselves is to just spontaneously be negative. Like, think about what I'm actually saying, like spontaneous negativity, meaning that there's like intent, or every human does things for a reason, whether it's good or it's bad. Every choice you make, there is a reason behind the choice. There is a reward that you are getting for every choice that you make. So with that being said, if you decide to just go up on someone's social media platform, on one of their posts, on one of their things, and just randomly for no reason, just start saying hateful and negative things, everyone who is awake can just see that. And to be honest, I just hope that one day you're able to find peace, bro. I'm sorry that, you know, the world is the way that it is, and your experiences have accumulated into this energy that you struggle with getting out of you, that just wants you to just continuously be negative. I just pray for you, and I hope that you're able to heal and listen to your inner child and just heal those traumatic wounds that you most likely have. That's those wounds that are unhealed is what's causing you to just lash out in negativity. Because what happens is, over time, if you it's just like a soda bottle. If you shake it up a whole bunch, eventually that shit's going to blow up. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let you know, if you're sitting here trying to fucking rile me up, it's not going to work. What's up? Kevin is a Humans in the house. Thank you for the distraction from the spontaneous negativity that comes from either bots or Israeli agents, or I don't know what it is. Maybe Meta's out to get me and they're sending bots in here to get me, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we were over here in web. You're right, bro. Check out some of these emails, bro. Right here. Check this email out. What does he mean What does this dude mean? What does Barnaby Marsh mean when he's getting Epstein? What does Epstein mean when he's talking to Barnaby Marsh saying we should build a mind reader? It would use de-encryption, like new understandings of the brain. We can involve the New York Academy of Science in one of our projects. I think it would be good for you to use them as well. We should do a project on tissue regeneration or cloning. I'm excited to accompany you on this voyage. Oh, crazy. Yeah. For some reason, this guy said he was leaving after I said pray. Weird, huh? You just start talking about God and all of a sudden the demons go away. You know what I mean? The negative energy, the low vibration, when you're like, I'm a person who prays and talks to God and source, and whether it's God or source or just your higher self, because you don't resonate with the idea of a God or whatever it may be, as soon as you start talking spiritually to these people, they just like start like, oh gosh, I don't even know what to do. What about this one? Oh, yeah, this one here. This is from Mark Tramo to Jeffrey Epstein. It was so great to hear your voice. So sorry I wouldn't pick up during McPherson's talk on Prodigy and the discussion on panel I was serving on. Had a very interesting lunch with Brian Devin, CEO of Petco, Evo Nexus, an interesting startup incubator. Weird, huh? Incubator. You see that? That's Tartaria we're talking right there. That's like Cabbage Patch Kids incubator. That's a baby thing, especially when it said it was hosted by Genius Knight and got me thinking about getting going again on inventing and patenting a virtual womb for all those preemies that were breeding with zero auditory language music enrichment. Wait, it says... It very specifically doesn't say the preemies that we would breed. He's like talking in the present tense, like the preemies we are breeding in a virtual womb, which basically would be an incubator, just like Great Tartaria and the mud flood and the world fairs where they would just pop up this. What about like this back to back? You know what I mean? Talking about that shit. To Jeffrey Epstein from Richard Merkin. Where are you? Any cloning updates? Why is Jeffrey Epstein being asked about cloning updates? Seems kind of insane, huh? All right, I got to go potty, dude. I drank a whole ass big ass cup of coffee. I got to potty. Kevin's in the house. We love Kevin as a human, bro. Dude, I've just grown this cool ass little squad of homies ever since I started streaming, bro. And Kevin is a human, co-founder of Buyer and Web. What we were just looking at, the Epstein files on Web. Yeah, you should go download and use it and look at yourself. app.theweb.io. This is not a paid advertisement. It's just genuinely because I use this platform like all the time, actually. So I got a potty. Here's a cool ass little Base Forge video while I go to the bathroom. Oh, I guess since we're here, we should actually do this real quick. Go download Buyer as well. Why not? You know what I'm saying? This is also not a paid advertisement. I actually use this application. So check this out, bro. Download the Buyer app. It's on my phone right now. Okay. See that? See these little rogue chews that I have? I usually show food, but I'm not going to show food because it works with everything that has a freaking, it works with everything that has a barcode. So I just come to the app, click the button to go scan the barcode, scan the barcode. Obviously it's going to tell me that these are Berry Rogue nicotine. But if I click the thing, it tells me right here, bro, it's privately owned, bro. It's not a fucking mega corporation. It's not owned by a bank, at least. You know, we can come here. We can go, yes. Look at this. Better Goods sparkling water, because I don't drink diabetes water or soda. I don't drink soda, really. So then you scan the barcode. Boom. It tells you Better Goods orange mango sparkling water. It has all the nutritional facts inside of it. But you can also just click this thing, tap for more research. Boom. It's owned by a mega corporation. And I guess for me specifically, I just like knowing if it's like founder owned, like the person who started the business is still the owner of the business in today's day and age when the mega corporations and private banks are just buying out everything. It makes me feel better if I'm supporting people like founder owned companies versus like a mega corporation that most likely isn't ethically sourcing it and cares not really about your health or what ingredients are in their products. They care about profits over people. You know what I mean? It's your hard-earned money, bro. You work hard for your money. And at the end of the day, you spend your money. One, the food aspect of all of it, I'm telling you, the food aspect of all of it, you at least can take care of your health and take your health into consideration and know exactly what you're putting in your body. But there's more to that. It's not just knowing what products you're consuming. At the end of the day, don't you want to be supporting companies that actually care about people? So you will find the ones and the companies through using this app over time. It's not going to happen all at once. Every time you go to the grocery store and you're thinking about buying an item, you just scan the item. If it's food, it'll tell you if it's food or if it's poison. And then you can look and see if the people who own it, where inevitably your money is going to go into their pocket, if they're like people or if it's like a bank, you know? Because you could probably almost guarantee if the bank owns the company, which is a private equity company, they don't really care about you. They only care about the profits, bro. So those products are, one, probably not ethically sourced, meaning that somewhere in Africa or in Southern America, there's children being used in the labor to get this product, as well as it probably doesn't have the best ingredients. But yeah, I love you, bro. I love you, Kevin. Kevin is a human. Ian Carroll, they're the owners of Buyer and Web. I use both of these products on an everyday basis. Like I said, these aren't paid advertisements. I'm only telling you because I genuinely use them and I think that they have benefit not only to me, but to you as well. Specifically Buyer. Web is goated if you like to learn stuff and research stuff and see. You just either stick around or use Web yourself. I'm pretty sure Web for the first month right now is only $5. $5. You could come up in here on Web and say, how many times is Donald Trump in the files? So when you say like, dang, allegedly Donald Trump is a pedophile or a rapist, allegedly, and people are like, you're a fucking idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. And you can just be like, yeah, I actually do know what I'm talking about because I've actually looked at the files myself. Sure, all of the things with Donald Trump are just allegations that were reported to the FBI that never went anywhere, and I wonder why. But you can say, no, bro, I actually looked at the files myself, bro. And this specific platform versus going to like justice.gov where you have to like put in a keyword or a phrase and then you have to like click every single link to even see what it is. You can obviously do that here with these images here. You can keep and pin them to your big ass web you get of all the documents you've been pulling up. You know what I'm saying? But you can also have access to like this little AI chatbot that's not like an AI chatbot because it doesn't hallucinate like other AI chatbots, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, all that stuff. It will actually only pull information from the specific data sets that you put in or what Web has put in. Obviously, it costs money to compute data. So the more data you're going to want to put in, you will have to help pay for all of that, or you will inevitably pay for all of that. But currently inside of this data set, I have the 9/11 FIOA government records, the Jeffrey Epstein files. I got Christianity in here for some reason, fossil fuel and climate, Tyler Robinson transcripts, and the FBI vault. All of those data sets in here. He's all up in here, bro. The literal phrase Donald Trump appears in 1,000 chunks across all data sets. It appears the result is actually capped at 1,000, meaning the true total of how many times Donald Trump is in the Epstein files is either at 1,000 chunks or more because it can't even go higher than 1,000. So you can look at them yourself. app.theweb.io. And make sure you get the web with 2 B's. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
One shape in the entire universe that could get you killed for speaking about it, and that is the mysterious dodecahedron. Recently, they found a bunch of these dodecahedron metal sculptures. They've been digging them out of ancient Rome. The dodecahedron has 12 sides, 30 edges, and 20 vertices. So if they were so forbidden in ancient Rome, why are we finding them all over the place? I think they found 110 or so of these things so far, and nobody knows what they do. Why is the best explanation that we do have for them a tool to knit sleeves or a religious artifact? We usually get religious artifact when nobody knows what they can do, so they just throw it into the religion bin. This way it sounds like they're actually onto something, but they have no idea what the hell the thing is. Now, if we look at the history of the shape, what the culture said about the shape, the geometry of the shape, what it has been used for, and combine that with our current knowledge, I think we can probably figure this one out. In ancient Greece, Pythagoras himself would wield Longclaw and chop the dome off of anyone that mentioned the dodecahedron. This is pretty hilarious because the thing that killed the most people in a single moment was the atom bomb. Why is that relevant? Inside the nuclear bomb is an array of shapes that is dodecahedral in nature. The shape's pentagonal faces was used to hold explosive lenses in place. The dodecahedron was chosen for its ability to focus different wavelengths of the explosive force to detonate a core of layered explosives designed to control the harmonics of an explosive wave, amplifying the wave so that it creates the biggest possible explosion. Modern rocket propulsion, rocket engines utilize the harmonics of that explosion to control the thrust vector of the rocket. When an explosion happens, the explosive lens reflects the explosion back in to a focal point. This creates directed force lines in the shape of a vector equilibrium. The vector equilibrium is a term coined by Buckminster Fuller. Bucky coined it because the vector lines are equal in length from the center of the shape. All of the lines that point towards the center are equally distant from the center. Right after the explosion, if we overlay the exact same vector equilibrium over the post-explosion critical mass, we see that it fits right within the hexagon created by the vector equilibrium, that internal hexagon. This is the most deadly cone you will ever see. This is an explosive lens system used to focus explosive waves when detonating one of those. The arrangement is an octagon, and if you have geometrics, you know that it is the harmonious representation of the physical world. The lenses themselves are shaped in a way to create aberration, or the focusing of a wave. Here is what it looks like on a Wi-Fi antenna. The lens uses the angles of phi, or the golden ratio, to create a shape called the cardioid, or the heart of mathematics. Doing this creates a focused beam of waves 180 degrees, exactly the opposite direction of the initial wave. When it does this, it creates a beam of energy backwards, while the turbulence of the wave creates the fractal patterns seen in the Mandelbrot set. In the Mandelbrot set, each focal bulb creates an infinite amount of Julia fractal spirals. It's another fractal that the Mandelbrot set contains, and they are chaotic little spirals. The force then sequentially detonates the core, harmonically scaling the explosion to deadly proportions. Now, Pythagoras may have been onto something with the secrecy. Speaking of atoms, these are the wildest shapes that you're going to see today. They're called spinors. Spinors are mathematical objects used to describe the spin states of particles. Quantum entanglement describes a physical phenomenon where the states of particles are correlated. When you rotate one of these 360 degrees, it doesn't return to its original shape. You have to rotate it 720 degrees for it to make a full rotation back into its same shape. So imagine a particle like an electron. That electron, if enclosed in a hypothetical dodecahedron spinor, would have a way for all other particles around it to know its location in space and be able to determine its position through the entangled spin direction. Important note here, spin direction isn't a vector like up or down or going in any direction. It's a rotational property like a vortex. Now let's apply the same method to something like a planet. If you encase the globe in a dodecahedron, you get the division of the sky into the zodiac by almost all of the ancients. The stars have always been how humans determine their location in relation to other things on the Earth. Even though some stars may not be visible during the year, it doesn't mean that they are not still connected to the Earth due to the spinner relationship. Think about it. If everything is expanding, everything was once one thing. If it was once one thing, it was once all connected. It only gets separated by space and time.
All right, here we are. What's up, everybody? Who's here? How's it going today? What's goody in the hoodie? I just got cracked for that whole period right there of the story on Facebook. They cracked me. They said that sound behind his video they cracked me. Facebook cracked me. But let's just jump right into this. You guys ready? If you're here, can you just say hey so I can kind of get a head count? I got 4. I'm streaming on 4 platforms, so I'm just trying to figure out who is where, what, and how. I love you guys. Thank y'all for being here for real. Every day, showing up, showing out. What's up, Scruffmeister? What's up, Lacey? Lane's in the house. Julia's in the house. Kevin's in the house. Maybe still, I'm unsure. Karen's in the house. Cheryl's in the house. Anna Ray's in the house. Veronica's in the house. Shee! Let's go. Because this shit's going to get... This is going to get kind of crazy, bro. I've watched this before. It's a long video. But let's just get right into it.
Are making a difference. The files are making a difference. Many more people are waking up to realities that they never would even consider possible. And while that's great news, there's still much work to be done. Part 1 was the genetics operation. Part 2, the inner circle. Part 3, the consciousness experiments. 3 videos and hundreds of government documents. But we're just getting started. Now I want to present something special to you. Something that I believe doesn't exist on the internet. An angle that no one would think to use in an investigation. But think about what we've covered. The majority is now willing to accept that Epstein was funding a genetics operation, was a part of a secret society, and was experimenting with consciousness and special abilities. Everyone's cool with that. Conspiracies are basically becoming mainstream. But hold up, because there are things conspiracy theorists have been saying for decades. And you know what else they've been saying? Going back at least to the 60s. I have an idea. A way to build the case that goes beyond the files. Hollywood. This genre of movie exposés, connecting films to real-world conspiracies and coding agendas hidden in plain sight, has been a cornerstone of the internet since the beginning of YouTube. Without a shadow of a doubt, you're about to witness the veil be lifted. Think about it. When building leads, sometimes it's necessary to start forming hypotheses. Because sometimes that's the only way to search for more leads. You need a framework. But let's make it simple. I think the majority of everyone who clicked on this video can accept that Hollywood is a propaganda machine. I think we all know that. But to what degree? Watch. We're gonna test it. This is how any real investigation works. You start with a working hypothesis, something specific and testable, then you run it against evidence. If it doesn't hold up, you throw it out. That's fair, right? Okay, so here's what we're testing. Do the elites use Hollywood to encode their agenda in plain sight? But this test only works if you understand 2 things, and I'm going to show you both. 1, that secret societies have been behind Hollywood since the beginning. And 2, movies aren't just entertainment, they're initiation devices. The theater is the temple, the screen is the ritual. I'm about to show you how Hollywood has been telling you to your face what's been going on for at least 60 years. And we just accepted it, did nothing. My thesis is simple. Hollywood knew. And there's one movie that I believe proves it. Why? Because it connects directly to the files. Now let me present my case. Now, I know what skeptics are going to say. Pattern recognition, survivorship bias, Texas sharpshooter fallacy. That's when you shoot first and draw the target after. You watch 1,000 movies and some are going to match reality. And they're right about all that. Unless you have the target first. We have the files. The documents drew the target. I'm just checking which movies hit it. So no, I'm not just going off of vibes, and I'm not saying, trust me, bro. If you want the truth, just watch this video in full. I'll walk you through every piece of it. Okay, so before I show you the film, can we move past the whole triangle Illuminati meme? This exact meme is why we can't pursue the study further. They don't even hide it, so I'm not sure how people can think this is a joke or some conspiracy. Let me show you how you prove this. In order to do so, you must learn the art and science of occult film analysis. Yes, a new occult art form, and you're about to learn it. I'm not going to explain it, I'm going to show you. It's time for you to wake up that you've been secretly initiated into a brotherhood from childhood. I will explain this by the end of the video. So there's already a lot here, but what makes this even more next level is, well, we have the files. Yeah, it's about to get crazy. Let me just give you a taste of how connected Epstein was to Hollywood. A payment ledger, $469,000 in 11 months from Jeffrey Epstein to a Hollywood premier publicist.
Real quick. Bear with me. One of the reasons I like having web, especially when I'm watching stuff about Jeffrey Epstein, is I have the ability to just look at this information myself. 2482. I'm just grabbing the EFTA from this document. Because, you know, it's highly likely, not likely, but it's possible that someone could just fabricate whatever they wanted, right? You could just make it look like an Epstein document. You know what I'm saying? Did I get the EFTA wrong? 018. 018. 524. 52482. It's not there. Is that the correct? 018 52482.
Payment ledger.
Interesting. I can't locate this one. 01852
$469,000 in 11 months from Jeffrey Epstein to a Hollywood premier publicist. A Hollywood producer, $326,000 in debt, listing his movie fees to Epstein as proof he can pay it back. Bones, Enchanted, Dirty Grandpa. Epstein told him to send this info to him. How much are you asking for? A fake audition. Same producer writes to Epstein about a girl who had a rough audition. Quote, I could have done the fake version of an audition and gotten her on tape. Then offers, I can set up the fake audition for her and have her loved on like crazy. Aspiring actresses solicited for dinner with Woody Allen. Quote, if you have any aspiring actresses, Woody and I are having dinner on Sunday. And a private film screening 3 years after his conviction. The guest list, Eric Schmidt, Lorne Michaels, Brian Williams, a Rothschild. Epstein emails the CEO of Activision Blizzard about visiting SpaceX with the girls, then writes, taking girls after to Bel Air. And the CEO of DreamWorks is in the files? And that's just a preview. We have a lot to cover, but I wanted to show you that first so that we can actually understand what we're dealing with here. Make sure you watch part 1 through part 3 before you watch this so that you can fully understand the context.
Yeah. because this shit's insane, bro. This is the one. This is the one where... You guys ever seen the movie The Island? Oh, boy. Here we go.
So what's this mystery film? The film that I believe exposes all of this, ironically, is literally called The Island, made in 2005. This movie's the blueprint, and they had the audacity to call it The Island and put a Freemason compass on the cover. These are the type of people that we're dealing with. It's a mockery. They're showing you the secrets right to your face. Let me show you. The Island, 2005, directed by Michael Bay, produced by DreamWorks, starring Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. 126 million budget. Okay, so the main premise is, in a near-future underground facility, hundreds of people believe that they're the last survivors of a global contamination. Their only hope is a lottery win, and if you win, you get sent to the island, the last uncontaminated paradise on Earth. But as the movie goes on, we find out that the lottery is a lie. These people are clones, grown as insurance policies for wealthy sponsors. When your sponsor needs a new kidney, a new heart, a surrogate pregnancy, you win the lottery. They then harvest your organs and you die. Okay, but the film bombed. What's crazy is I actually watched this when I was younger, but it's one of those movies that you just kind of forget about. 162 million worldwide on a 126 million budget, and their critics called it a dumb Michael Bay action movie. So of course, no one really remembers it. And that's actually a pretty key data point. The action in the film is not very good. It's not well thought out at all. For a 126 million Michael Bay movie, the action is surprisingly weak. I mean, think about it. Where did this movie even come from? Michael Bay, really? Sure, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of VFX shots. But to me, it seems like a lot of the money went to the blueprint, the message. And I'm not the only one who sees this. Right now, the entire internet would agree this film is extremely sus. But now it's time to prove it. Alright, so we're about to get started. I just need to make a crucial distinction that many people new to this field of study may miss. People literally think Michael Bay directed this film. Remember the framework we're working from. What you will witness in this film, which is a common pattern in many films, especially in the early 2000s, is you have a front-end director and a back-end director. Basically, an exoteric director and an esoteric director. But just to be clear, this isn't common knowledge and there's no proof that this is true. However, I'm about to show you this is the case, and you, the audience, can be the judge. So, for The Island, there's the front-end director. That's the guy whose name's on the poster. Michael Bay. Explosions, Puma ads, car chases, the hype music. That's the entertainment. That's what's gonna keep you in your seat for 2 hours. It's pretty obvious when he's directing. Okay, but then there's the back-end director. You never see their name, and we cannot say for certain who this is. But anyone with any ounce of film knowledge will be able to notice a difference in directing. They work through the script, the set design, the framing, the symbols placed in the background. They encode information into the film that the front-end director may not even understand is there. When I show you what's inside this movie, you're gonna see both directors working. And once you can tell them apart, you'll never watch a film the same way again. With that, you know the film, you know the premise and the framework. Now let me show you why this isn't just another movie review. This movie is connected to the files. Let's start with the Scarlett connection since she is the main star of the movie. EFTA 01846326. Epstein's own words. Ask Woody's assistant if they want to invite Scarlett Johansson, as she is in New York. That is okay. So in 2012, Epstein personally requested...
What's up, Monica? What's up, everybody? Oh, there's a fly in here. Dun, 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 dun. What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, you can't, dude. We were gonna make freaking banana bread too, but then we went and the bananas were too brown. We left them out in the fruit basket for too long. What's up, Richie? Richie Rose's in the house. What's good? You know what? If I could be honest with you guys are just sitting there talking about food and Kick. Over on Kick, you guys are just talking about banana bread and shit, French toast and butter beer coffee creamer. Like what? And so I just have to give a shout out because the person who cooks me always the bestest and the bombedest food is my wife, Queen Trip. You know, she's a real one. You know what I mean? Like, I could never imagine having a wife like her, bro, if I'm being honest with you. She goes to work all day long and then still chooses to come home and cook dinner. Like, I cook dinner sometimes, too. I'm not just saying, like, I expect her to do that in any sort of way. You got me fucked up if you think that's how our relationship is. She likes to cook for us. She loves cooking. She likes, just like they said, she likes to put love in the food. And oh boy, I'm telling you what, boy, if you've only been eating fucking fast food or making your own food, bro, and you haven't had food made from somebody recently that loves you, bro, you're missing out. Because that shit just hits different. I'm telling you, it just hits different. Oh boy. Are there any guys out here that have a wife that cook for them, bro? I'm telling you what, that's like one of the, if I could be honest, as a dude who likes to eat food, like most of the time where my job is, I'm the meat cooker, bro. You know what I'm saying? I cook meats. And that's just kind of how energetically it's just kind of how like energetically it all just kind of worked out. You know what I mean? She'd be whipping up all sorts of concoctions. Like tonight we're having breakfast sandwiches on bagels and stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm just telling you what, when women cook food, bro, there's just something magical about it. I'm not saying men can't cook food either, and that there's not the opposite feeling on the other side of the spectrum about men who cook food. But there's just something special about food that's cooked with love. Love has been and always will be the motherfucking ingredient for life, for everything. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Lacey? What's up, Melissa? I see you, Scruffmeister. Monica, Canada's in the house. Karen, what's up? Richie Rose, I see you. What's up in here, bro? What's goody? What's goody? What's goody in the hoodie? What's goody in the hoodie? Let me just go back to this decahedron thing. I won't be gone for long. I just have to go fill up the coffee cup. I didn't have coffee in the pot when I went upstairs to go potty, so I had to make some. I could only just take a little bit of the last little bit, you know what I mean? So we do have these new mugs, tripoverdrip.shop. You know what I'm saying? Tripoverdrip.shop. We got these new Stanley mugs, bro, 20-ounce mug. I just made it this morning because I got all the stuff to make all the merch that has been purchased recently. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm going to go fill up my coffee cup. I'll be right back. Let's finish this. Oh, this decahedron video cracked me, bro. I can't play this one, bro. It just made it so I got copyrighted, bro. What do we just rock right here?
Sound through a metal plate. They have an equation that can be converted into something that we can use to simulate those patterns. The peaks and the valleys show the shape of the sound. Other than making really cool graphics, we can also use this to reveal some hidden architecture and some really old stuff like Borobudur. The architecture is a mirror of the frequency. As we move up in frequency, the patterns get smoother and more complex. And within 100 hertz of that frequency that I just played, you get the architecture of Chichen Itza. Sonically and mathematically. Square waves are binary. You know what else is binary? Biology. If we use a pyramid to illustrate the sequence of biology, you get the binary sequence counting downwards. Counting diagonally, you get the golden ratio that links everything together proportionately. So how would this work? Well, you would take a seed and you would put it up in this chamber, which is exactly what the Mayans did, and then you would wait till the feathered serpent returns to the ground. At this point, water does the rest of the heavy lifting, having the uncanny ability to reflect the flowers and fruits of which the...
Oh no, I pulled the Baron. Dang it, I forgot to, I wasn't showing you guys. Gosh, bro. Gosh, bro, I'm sorry. Dude, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I smoke too much, bro, sometimes, bro, and I just get sidetracked. I'm sorry about that, dude. I probably just lost y'all. You're all like, screw this, dude. Just kidding.
Scarlett Johansson at his dinner through Woody Allen. EFTA 02176-395. Catherine, Woody's assistant. Woody said he has a call into Scarlett, but he doubts she'll be able to come because she's working. But the attempt is documented. EFTA 016-18751. Epstein to Anil Ambani. I'm glad you prefer young blondes to old ones. I had some guests here with unusual taste. The Indian billionaire, Anil Ambani, tells Epstein his next movie is with Scarlett Johansson, and that was Epstein's response. Now, this is not a direct connection to the film, but let's just remind ourselves of this EFTA from part 1, because this is going to set the context of what you're about to see. EFTA 026-04748, a fun spreadsheet for the Designer Baby in Human Cloning Company. Someone sent Epstein a use of funds spreadsheet for a Designer Baby and Human Cloning Company, August 2018. Okay, so DreamWorks released a film about cloning humans for the wealthy, and the CEO of DreamWorks had a screening event where Peggy Siegel directly invited Epstein to, the man who was being pitched a literal cloning company. Okay, so let's talk about this DreamWorks CEO, Katzenberg. Here's what ties the whole thing together. In 1979, a low-budget film called Parts, the Clonus horror, screened at Paramount Pictures. It has the same plot as The Island, clones grown for the wealthy. And the man who watched that screening was Jeffrey Katzenberg. He was VP of feature production at Paramount. According to the filmmaker, Katzenberg told him, "If you can make that for under $1 million, I'd like to see what you can do with 10. 25 years later, Katzenberg's company, DreamWorks, released The Island, $126 million budget, 90 documented points of similarity, and they settled the lawsuit for 7 figures, term sealed. Okay, so now let me show you the paper trail. EFTA 020-25245, September 4th, 2012. An invite goes out from Allison Reddington at the Peggy Siegel Company, and I want you to look at the CCs, Peggy Siegel herself, and the invite says, Jeffrey Katzenberg invites you to join director Peter Ramsey and producer Christina Steinberg for an intimate first look at DreamWorks Animation's Rise of the Guardians. This invite was sent directly to Epstein's personal email, EFTA 021-60988. 2 days later, Epstein's executive assistant, Leslie Groff, forwards the invite internally and writes, quote, Jeffrey will attend this movie screening this Sunday. EFTA 01886807, the RSVP chain. Epstein's assistant, do you want me to RSVP for the screening on Sunday, September 9th? Epstein replies, yes. And the response back is, great, I will RSVP you +1. +1. And then on the day of the screening, September 9th, 2012, Epstein emails Peggy, I won't come tonight to the screening. Call if you get a chance. And Peggy writes back, where are you? Calling mobile right now. Of course you can come to anything. Then sends the details. It's the Rise of the Guardian, an amazing animated film Jeffrey Katzenberg is positioning for an Oscar. 5 p.m. at Dolby Screening Room. 6:30 p.m. casual dinner at the Monkey Bar for Katzenberg. If can't make film and want to see Jeffrey K, come. XOXO Peg. That's EFTA 02560713. We also must consider whether they're being secretive here. Now, who is Peg? Well, the original invite was sent from the Peggy Siegel Company. Peggy CC'd by full name on EFTA 0202525 and EFTA 01886807, and the sign-off XOXO Peg matches another email from October 2016, EFTA 02041167, where Epstein's assistant reaches out to Peggy and says, "Hello, Peggy. Jeffrey wants you to know he is here all week in case you want to see him." And Peggy responds, "Just emailed him. I'm on it. We'll send a list tonight and more tomorrow. XOXO Peg." So let me break down what we're actually looking at here. Peggy Siegel is not just some random publicist who happened to know Epstein. EFTA 01852482 is a payment ledger from a company called Wagging Tail Entertainment Limited, and it shows $469,781 paid to Peggy Siegel Incorporated in just 11 months, January through November 2011, 37 checks, and almost $500,000. But it would seem that Wagging Tail isn't just some random company. There's another document, EFTA 01994205. This lays out the entire financial structure. It says all expenses for the Peggy Siegel Company are paid by Wagging Tail Entertainment Limited, and Wagging Tail Entertainment Limited pays a commission fee to Peggy Siegel Incorporated. The commission fee is equal to 60% of revenue less expenses. So Epstein's money goes into Wagging Tail pays all of Peggy's expenses, and Peggy gets a 60% commission. So she's the one apparently arranging screenings, dinners, and access to people like Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Let's just find out for ourselves, shall we?
She was still doing...
Let's just ask Webb about old Peggy Siegel. Yeah, where is she today? What is Peggy Siegel doing today? I'm just curious about this PR person named Peggy Siegel. Like, what is she doing today? Is she still a PR person or a publicist?
From recent profiles like in New York Magazine earlier this year, it seems Peggy Siegel was once a very powerful publicist, but her career took a major downturn in 2019 due to her association with Jeffrey Epstein. The coverage doesn't indicate that she's actively working as a publicist today. Instead, she's been reflecting on her past and the controversies surrounding it.
Oh, did she start a podcast?
I couldn't find any indication.
I don't know. It just seems like people just like have like a scandal or they fall out and all of a sudden they just like start a podcast. So this is the summary of all the documents and what they say about Peggy Siegel. The documents portray Peggy Siegel as a New York PR film event publicist who served as Epstein's paid conduit in elite Hollywood and media circles. She arranged high-dollar events, managed media inquiries about his criminal history, and maintained a close personal relationship that blurred her into her own family legal affairs. Epstein's bank records show he paid her company at least $32,000 and covered her private charter flights. The legal filing that catalogs these payments explicitly identifies her as Epstein's former publicist and cites a 2019 Hollywood Reporter investigation titled Peggy Siegel and Jeffrey Epstein, a Hollywood event planner's symbiotic relationship with a sex offender. That's fucking crazy. Whoa, dude. 320 totaling? Dang, bro. All right. back to the video.
Doing it in 2016, years after his conviction. And this isn't just me connecting dots. There are multiple articles online talking about how Epstein used Hollywood publicist Peggy Siegel to re-enter elite circles. And the Hollywood Reporter called it a symbiotic relationship. So, we can say that she was arranging dinners at Epstein's mansion with Prince Andrew.
That fool looks like a straight reptile. I'm just saying. Fucking reptilian. Facebook, you've been kind of quiet. You guys all right over there? There's 0 people on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, can you say hello? Because it says there's no one here. Maybe people are bored of me. I don't know. Let's just keep going.
George Stephanopoulos, Katie Couric. The news article reported tens of thousands in consulting fees. But it seems that the actual payment ledger says $469,781. Okay, but the Peggy files are pretty crazy. EFTA 01857662, August 12, 2011. An email chain between Epstein and Peggy. The subject line is accountant.
What the shit? You see this one? Let's go back. I gotta go
Michael
back.
Rubenstein.
Sorry. I gotta get this EFTA where this person's like telling Jeffrey Epstein's telling Peggy Segal. Peggy Segal says, "Fucking find me a baby mama." What the shit? Is that how you talk to your publicist? Find me a baby mama. And then you find out like, oh, he was like trying to impregnate 20 women at a time at Zorro Ranch. Like, what the fuck? He's like demanding like, find me a woman. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy, right? What's up, Amy? What's up, Amy? Lacey Lane's in the house. What's good? Am I typing this wrong, bro? Is that a 0? It's kind of crazy. How come I can't find these ones? $662. Weird. Let me just ask Web like this. Where is the email exchange between Jeffrey and Peggy where Jeffrey says, find me a baby mama? What's good? Hey, Amy, you know that there should be a link that's pinned to the top of the chat on Facebook. Yeah, I'm gonna unpin it. I'm gonna pin it again. That's to my YouTube. If you want to watch on YouTube, it's probably better to watch on YouTube than on freaking Facebook. I don't know. It's up to you. But I'm just letting y'all know, if you're on Facebook, that link should be in the chat. I just pinned it to the top of the chat for y'all to head over to YouTube. It's right there. Where is it? Is it redacted right there? Where is the Find My Baby Mama place? You can see it right here. The conversation then pivots entirely to the baby mama search. A baby mama. If I wasn't 102, I would take that job in a nanosecond. What the fuck? Peggy Segal said that to Epstein when he said, find me a baby mama. That's crazy, bro. Right here. Find me a baby mama. Ooh. And she says, a baby mama, if I wasn't 102, I would take that job in a nanosecond. Can't I be the auntie mama? I would be excellent at that job. Here's the problem. You would have to find someone who will take is as a business deal, not to get crazy emotional. A top girl will want a relationship with the father. A girl who wants a certain life that she can't get any other way is a candidate, but must be stable like a rock. I need great genes. Smart, pretty, funny. If you were 50 years younger, whoops, 40. Dang, he's like telling her she's old as shit. How fucking crazy is that? I'm thinking that this is a position for a European who understands the mistress mentality. You need someone young without much of a career, maybe a professional student, someone who is kept and can just keep going to school, getting all sorts of degrees. Also, who doesn't have much of a family herself? The last thing you want is the in-laws. I want to be a socialite is not the way to go looking. What the fuck, bro? She's like dead ass coaching him and like letting him know like what type of girl they would need to find. Someone specifically that doesn't really have anything going for her. No career, so that they can just allow her to keep going to school so that nobody comes looking for her, basically. And Peggy said it herself. The last thing you want is the in-laws, you know? What the fuck?
6-2, August 12th, 2011. An email chain between Epstein and Peggy. The subject line is accountant Michael Rubenstein. They're discussing normal business stuff, and then Epstein writes, quote, let the accountant and Michaels do everything. You schmooze and find me a baby mama. Peggy responds, quote, a baby mama? If I wasn't 102, I would take that job in a nanosecond. Couldn't I be the auntie mama? I would be excellent at that job. Here's the problem. You have to find someone who will take it as a business deal and not get crazy emotional. A girl who wants a certain life that she can't get any other way is a candidate, but must be stable like a rock. Take note of this conversation because by the end of the video, you will read that email differently. Epstein replies, quote, I need great genes. Smart, pretty, funny. And Peggy comes back with, quote, I'm thinking this is a position for a European who understands the mistress, in this case baby mama, mentality. You need someone young without much of a career, maybe a professional student, someone who's kept and can just keep going to school, getting all sorts of degrees. Also, who doesn't have much of a family herself. The last thing you want is in-laws. And at the end of the same chain, Epstein writes, no, but there is a commission paid from Wagging Tail. The same Wagging Tail. Again, they're being secretive. And that company was paying her $500,000 a year. EFTA 024-38648, October 19th, 2009. The subject line is tall kids. Peggy writes to Epstein, quote, remember when you asked me what is the most important trait for a child, and I said height, then intelligence? EFTA 024-33105, December 18th, 2009. Peggy's on a plane to Nairobi with her daughter, Maddie, heading to Kenya Safari that Epstein paid for, and she emails him from the plane, quote, can I bring a little baby bag for you, or two, boys or girls, so Madonna. EFTA 01831012, December 24th, 2010. Peggy writes Epstein from St. Barth's, quote, please be careful about walking around with 3 girls. Even though they're legal, I worry about your social resurrection. Resurrection? And then just...
Sorry about that. My dogs were barking. I went upstairs and my front door was open. I don't know if I didn't close it all the way or the wind or something. So then I had to go and make sure they weren't here trying to get me. I'm sorry. That's just how I have to say it. All of a sudden I go upstairs and my front door is open. My dogs are barking. I just had to go throughout the whole house and make sure that there wasn't someone in here trying to take me out, dude.
July 2012. EFTA 018777490. Leslie Groff relays a message from Peggy to Epstein. Quote, Peggy says that she does not want young girls with no last names at the screening on Wednesday night of the campaign. She says the press will be there. She requests over 30. Whoa, what? Girls at screenings? And then there's this. EFTA 01953263. Epstein's personal reminder notes. His assistant sends him a list and says it's Denial Engine, Music as Lens, Leon Gettner, Katzenberg, Museum of Modern Music, Botstein, David Blaine, Benefit, Tish Game, Gates, Dinner. Katzenberg is on the same reminder list as Gates. So the CEO of DreamWorks saw this cloning story in 1979. His studio remade it with the movie The Island in 2005, and he is in the files. Private screenings, Oscar dinners, personal invitations, all arranged through a publicist who Epstein paid $500,000 a year. The same publicist he asked to find me a baby mama with great genes, smart, pretty, and funny. And it would seem that Peggy knew about the girls, as he was told, no young girls with no last names. Basically, she's the bridge between Epstein and Hollywood. And some of these emails have a eugenics undertone. Okay, so you have the files and the connections. Now let me...
Real quick. Monica Canada. No, that was Melissa, actually. Melissa. She just dropped a freaking bomb ass. It looks so good. A banana bread recipe in the Discord. And then it just made me think, like, are you guys in my Discord? If you're not in Team Human's Tripoverdrip Discord, I just dropped the link in every single one of the live chats. I hope you join the Discord. Hope to see you there. There's lots and lots of people in there. Like, we almost have like 300 up in there. I guess lots and lots. I don't know about that because there's some people that have like thousands, but it's lots to me. But yeah, join the Discord if you want to join basically a big ass group chat with everybody, Team Human.
show you this film and you tell me if this is a coincidence. Sit back, get some snacks, and let's dive in. The film opens up and we're flying over an island. And already we need it's a false memory being implanted. We see this paradise, this island, and it looks heavenly, almost like an afterlife. But there's something very dark about this. There is an angelic woman, but also terrifying at the same time. This is a femme fatale Lucifer reference. Take note for later. Then we hear, "You're special. You have a very special purpose in life." And then, "You've been chosen." These are MK Ultra programmed messages. And right as this is happening, we get a butterfly on the screen. That's the signal for Monarch programming. Okay, but the thing is, you wouldn't see that if you were watching the film normally. This whole beginning sequence is in quick flashes. And there's also a shot where there's a memory of when he was 8 years old, which is weird because there's no indication on why they chose 8. 8 is Saturn. We found out later that these clones don't have real memories. So why does he remember being 8? And in that same shot, one-eye symbolism. Pay attention to this, because there are countless one-eye symbols in this movie. 3 times, okay, it's a cool cinematic choice. 20 times, it's undeniable. It's being used as a control, enlightenment, and initiation symbol. We're going to be counting them. And then we see hazmat suits. People in hazmat suits and radioactive imagery all flashing throughout this dream. Okay, this is crazy because the Epstein survivor, Juliette Bryant, testified she woke up paralyzed in a laboratory at Zorro Ranch. And she mentioned people in hazmat suits. She even said that Michael Bay was present at the ranch in 2004, 1 year before this film. Guys, I'm not saying it's true, but do you realize how crazy this is? An Epstein victim accused Michael Bay of being present at the ranch in 2004. the same ranch that she claimed there was a secret lab. Alright, now focus. Then, a man wakes up. It was just a dream. But was it? Good morning, Lincoln 6 Echo. An AI-monitored room. The man is confused. It would seem we're in some futuristic environment because the AI system in this facility immediately picks up that he's having erratic REM sleep cycles, meaning someone or something is monitoring his dreams. We find out that his name is Lincoln 6 Echo. Weird name, right? Well, it's not a name, it's an entry, an ID, a serial number. But we'll come back to the esoteric symbolism towards the end. The man who just woke up from this dream is clearly confused and doesn't know what's going on. There's a notification to report to the Tranquility Center. Seems pretty chill. So he goes to the Tranquility Center, and this is kind of weird. Notice how thought out everything is. So first, he has to go through a wake-up contamination screening process. Then he gets dressed, and of course, he has to put on his Puma shoes. Well, he's missing a shoe, and he talks to a camera on the wall, and we find out that there's some control center. This implies that this man is a part of some type of large experiment. Someone is sitting in front of multiple monitors watching all of this. Every single thing these people do is monitored. But the movie is very fast-paced, so it doesn't explain what's happening just yet. And keep in mind, when people were watching this in 2005, they most likely didn't really suspect anything weird. But now with fresh eyes, it's easy to see. So he leaves his cell and he starts walking in the hallway with a bunch of other people wearing the same clothing. They get into an elevator, and this scene is where we find out some more of the lore. The elevator AI system says, "Good morning, July 19th, 2019. Now this film came out in 2005, but they set it to 2019. So were they saying that this technology, human cloning, organ harvesting, all of this was going to be possible by 2019? That's a very interesting date to pick is all I'm saying. And ask yourself, if you're a skeptic of a reality like this, why haven't these experiments happened? Let's just say this, it's not the tech, it's laws. The tech already exists. So we know the year, but technically this is the future in 2005. Right after the elevator AI says the date, then this guy from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody says, "Another day in paradise." Take note of that word, paradise. So they're chilling in the elevator when an announcement on the screen comes on. It's an advertisement for the lottery. Basically a MK Ultra commercial. Why is it MK Ultra? MK Ultra is when the images flash fast so you can't process them and it goes directly to your subconscious. You'll see this throughout the whole film. So this commercial comes up with this hype music and it has these flashing images. Clearly trance-inducing as they all stop what they're doing and stare. Boom. The island. Your prize. The island winner. Starkweather 2 Delta. And then we get an attractive woman who appears on the screen and says in a sensual voice, "Your time has come. You're moving out to the island." Then the winner, Starkweather 2 Delta, played by Michael Clark Duncan, is on the screen and he's the celebrity talking about how the biggest dream of his life just came true. And then he says, "I've only been with you guys for like 6 months, but I won." He's Mr. Popular. He can't believe it. He's going to the island. And notice the circular black and white background. This does create a hypnotic effect on the viewer. This is a fake celebrity endorsement being used to sell the lottery to the rest of the people here. Does that remind you of anything? So Starkweather won, and he's freaking out because he gets to go to the island. That's what's happening in this scene. Okay, but let's take a few notes. This is a lottery system which is announced by, what I would argue, a sexually charged female announcer to a bunch of people who seem to be living in a controlled environment. And the biggest dream is to win this lottery. So you go to the island. Let's continue. The last thing that she says is the island is nature's last remaining pathogen-free zone. That's what they call the island. The beginning part is extremely detailed, so bear with me. It is all important. So they're still in the elevator, and this guy's getting upset because he's been here way longer than 6 months. Why does he never win? The lottery is literally stressing them out. And we cut back to the control room. We got a disturbance on elevator 12. So any change in hormonal level is monitored. Someone behind the scenes is tracking all of them. Then there's this conversation between the clones, and we find out that some of them have been here for 2 years, 3 years, and then this one guy says he's been here for 7 years. So we know that this operation has been running for at least 7 years. Then we get a zoom out wide shot of the facility, and look at this is crazy. It literally looks like a generator. And it also looks exactly like the pod towers from the Matrix, where the humans are stored as batteries, which suggests the people in the experiment are being used as an energy source. So they get off the elevator, and the guy who was freaking out is now in trouble because he had a disturbance, meaning he got upset. So they asked...
Yes, Melissa. Yes, I did see that frickin' cartoon, and it enraged me because that's my favorite cartoon, and the frickin' White House used it to fucking propagate MAGA. Yes. Yes. You want to see it? Do you know what my kids said about that? Like, dead ass. Do you know what my kids said about that? My youngest son said, dude, they just told us the truth. They said that politicians are robots. He said, they just told us that aliens are real and the politicians are robots. Because Chuck Schumer freaking takes the mask off of, like, pulls his face off, you know? What smart kids, you know what I'm saying? What smart kids. Yes, that's my favoriteest cartoon of all time, and I'm bugged by that. I'm bugged that MAGA and the White House did that, bro. I'm super bugged. And the only reason I could think of... I could only think of the only reason why they were even able to use it or do it. One, it's probably because that specific 15-20 second segment maybe is not copyrighted, or as well as is because Rick and Morty has a new season out. So did Rick and Morty sell out to MAGA to promote their new season? What do you think, bro? Do you think the president just did it, or is Rick and Morty and Adult Swim implicated in promoting MAGA?
So they get off the elevator, and the guy who was freaking out is now in trouble because he had a disturbance, meaning he got upset. So they ask him to swipe. So here's more lore. They all have these bracelets. The movie doesn't explain this. You have to pause and read it to understand it, but these cuffs are called ether cuffs, which supports the idea that they're batteries. Why else would you call it that? But these are ID bracelets, the mark of the beast. Also note that the guards are in black suits, so they are the men in black. the men outside the Matrix with the knowledge of the true system. He scans the bracelet, pulls up the profile on the tablet. Gondu 3 Echo. You've been flagged for public disturbance before. Now we start to see the inside. We're in a main lobby and a cafeteria area. Everyone in this experiment is wearing the same exact white clothes. They're basically all just hanging out in this brave new world looking lab. It does actually look a lot like that 80s movie. But this scene is showing all the public facilities and amenities. They have yoga, entertainment, a bar. They're all just hanging out in paradise, right? Except everything's monitored. And again, extremely detailed. Not in the actual plot or the action scenes, but in the lore and specifics of this experiment. To me, it's clear that this is where the majority of the effort was. For example, so Lincoln goes to get some food and he scans his ether cuff at the cafeteria and immediately the AI flags him. Nutrition warning, and it tells him exactly what he can eat. Choices are fruit, oatmeal, or any type of bran. But weirdly, he really wants bacon, and the lunch lady says, "You got a nutrition flag, that means no bacon." So the system decides what you eat. He tries to get eggs and sausage, but again the lunch lady rejects him. So he just gets goop. But then this woman walks up to him and says, "Watch and learn." This is Jordan 2 Delta. And notice, she's a Delta. Lincoln is an Echo. So those are different classifications. And the second she gets to the counter, the lunch lady's whole attitude changes. So she goes up there and gets 4 or 5 pieces of bacon. A Delta can override the system, but Echoes can't. And she gives the bacon to Lincoln. I just think it's weird that they chose bacon. But keep in mind, this is subtle Sophia symbolism. We see a lot of this in Frankenstein. In a way, Jordan is Lincoln's guide and inspiration. Okay, but I went over that because this whole skit right here is just a eugenics brave new world scene. There's a class system, Deltas get treated better than Echoes, different privileges, different food, and the people in the experiment don't even question why. Well, immediately one of the guards separates them. There are proximity rules. They're not even allowed to get close to each other. And this is a strange scene. So they're all sitting down and they're all simultaneously reading from a book. And it's literally Dick and Jane. "Who wants Sally?" said Dick. "I do, Jane. I cannot find Sally." "Get up, Dick, get up and help me find Sally." But these are adults reading children's books. They're being maintained at a child's level, so clearly that's programming. Next, we meet Dr. Merrick. Lincoln gets called in to see Dr. Merrick, and we meet the main guy behind all of this. Look at his office. Notice the Picasso painting on the wall? And he does have this orb object on his desk, almost like a Palantir.
Oh, what? Almost like a Palantir? Do you guys know the reference? Where are my Lord of the Rings? Where are my fantasy homies at, bro? Come on, who's seen it? That Palantir stone on his desk, bro. What?
So Merrick sits Lincoln down, and the whole vibe's like a therapist session. "How's Lincoln 6 Echo today? My only job is to see that you're happy." But then he starts pulling up the files. The files show that you've been regularly interacting with Jordan 2 Delta. Proximity could become a concern. So he knows everything. He even knows that Lincoln's been having nightmares. So Merrick asks him to tell him about the dream. And Lincoln says, I'm on a boat, heading to the island. And Merrick goes, a boat? He's obviously caught off guard. What kind of boat? Because why would Lincoln know what a boat is? He's never seen one. He's lived in this facility his whole life. The fact that he said boat means that something is leaking through. Merrick asks what happens in the dream, and Lincoln says, I drown. And Merrick says, well, maybe you're afraid of winning. And Lincoln says, why would I be afraid of winning? But Merrick just says, you tell me. So Lincoln is starting to question everything. Who decided everyone likes tofu? Why can't I have bacon? Why is everyone wearing white? Who cleans my clothes? I just want to know answers. And I wish that there was more. And Merrick goes, more? And Lincoln says, more than just wanting to go to the island. He's waking up now. He's asking questions that nobody else asks. Why do I eat this? Why do I wear this? Who runs this place? And then Merrick hits him with this. It's your nature to question things. But don't you realize how lucky you are? You survived the contamination. That nature has left you a Garden of Eden to repopulate. That, Lincoln, is your purpose.
What? Bro. Shout out Mind Unveiled, the Bible Unveiled. Because I can't see the Garden of Eden in the same light ever again after we watch the Bible Unveiled, bro. That's a crazy reference, isn't it? Especially if this is like has esoteric and like secret society symbolism inside of it. Oh, bro. What the hell?
Garden of Eden, repopulation. Are you listening? This is the cover story, and it's biblical. God telling the creation its purpose. And then Lincoln asked him, and you? Aren't you going to the island too? And Merrick just says no, he's not going. He has to run this place. He's the god of this world. Then Merrick looks at Lincoln's drawings and sees that he's been sketching a boat. And at the bottom of the drawing it says, Renovatio. This is always in his dream. Renovatio. Take a note of that. So Merrick says he wants to run some tests. Nice test, he calls them. And then he brings Lincoln into this lab, and there's a machine that locks him down. He's gonna do a synaptic brain scan. And Merrick says, totally harmless. Don't worry, it's painless. The scan works through nanotechnology. It's these tiny spider-like robots that crawl through his eye. So bug symbolism. And Lincoln goes, it hurts. And Merrick just says, not really. Lincoln's like, yeah, it does. But Merrick, like a hypnotist, says, no, it doesn't. Then look at this shot. The microsensors will move along your optic nerve. They'll be uploading readings to us over the next 24 hours. So in 2005, they are showing you this technology in detail. Notice the one-eye symbolism in the same frame as the nanotech. That's not an accident. Oh, and by the way, I will point out the product placements because think about it. How dystopian is it to be watching a movie about this and getting advertisements at the same time? That's 2005 for you. So Lincoln goes to work and we see this interface. It says the current operator is Lincoln and the task is to inject glutamine 2%, 12 milligrams into nutrient line A2. This flashes on the screen for maybe like a second, but look at the detail. This looks like real science, real IVF software. They designed an entire UI interface for this 1 second shot. And the job is basically this. Lincoln is sitting at a long table with these tubes laid across it, maybe 30 of them, half red, half blue. And his job is to inject specific amounts of nutrients into them. On the other side, there's another clone doing the same thing with the red tubes, which could be blood, but these are different nutrient lines, basically. And they're all wearing these blue coats with a logo on them. So Lincoln asked the guy next to him, do you ever get bored doing this? And the guy goes, I never really thought about it. Lincoln says, where do the tubes go? And the guy just points. They start there and they go right there. He has no idea, and none of them do. Which is a perfect analogy for the mainstream. Someone questions the system, and the answer is, well, duh, it's obvious. But nobody actually knows where the tubes go. Then they notice this new guy, 7 Foxtrot, and he's in this stupor. They're trying to teach him how to do this job. And one of the clones says, man, did we all look that stupid when we went through decontamination? So it's telling you that every clone goes through this phase. They basically come in blank and slowly get programmed into their role. So now this guy next to
Dude. To be honest, it just seems so crazy to me what the implications are of this movie, knowing that the director of this movie went to Zorro Ranch. You know what I mean? That's just, I don't know, just get the ick. Like, fuck, man, no wonder there's not, I mean, allegedly there's no wonder there's not been a investigation, and they're doing lots of reconstruction and shit over at that ranch and shit. You know what I mean? Is that just me? Can you guys vibrate, and do you guys feel that way? Like, just it just seems weird, because now I just kind of see the unseen. You know what? If that makes sense. I got 2 eyes to look, but my one eye is the one that sees, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is underneath that ranch, bro?
Lincoln, and this is interesting. He goes, hey, Mr. Man with all the questions, let me ask you this. And he leans in. The lottery's supposed to be random, right? What if it's not? What if it's rigged? So this is basically our conspiracy guy, but it's our clueless conspiracy guy. The one that makes alternative researchers look like crackpots. He pulls out this crazy note, and he says that he's been charting the last 20 people who won a spot on the island, excluding, of course, the women who were picked to be breeders. Okay, whoa. So the film is telling you that some of the female clones are selected for reproduction. And so what he did is he took the first letter of each name and assigned it a point value based on its position in the alphabet. Like the last guy, Starkweather. S equals 15, and then Q equals 15. S equals 19. Do you see what I'm saying? And Lincoln's like, no. But essentially this guy is doing gematria, assigning numerical values to letters and trying to decode a hidden pattern in a 2005 Michael Bay movie. Okay, but this scene's doing multiple things at once. It's showing you how conspiracy theorists work. He has the right instinct. He feels something is wrong. But he looks crazy. His math doesn't add up. He still doesn't have the full picture because he's trying to crack the system to win, not to escape. He almost...
Oh. That's it. 2.5 hours today, guys. But that's actually a bomb. That's a banger ass line right there. He looks crazy, just like the typical conspiracy theorist, because he's trying to crack the code to win, not to escape. How crazy, and just how like, geez, that just like resonates so much with me, if I'm being honest. Because do you feel like there is more information available to you when it's not to win and it's to escape, if that makes sense? When you're looking for information for the right purpose versus like the selfish or the materialistic purposes? I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyways, guys, just remember... Oh yeah, before I go, one more time. One more time. One more time. One more time. You guys. We got new Tripoverdrip mugs. Did you see me drinking out of it? The Tripoverdrip mug right here. Check it out. Tripoverdrip 20-ounce Stanley. I just dropped the link in all of the chats. We got a bunch of new stuff. We still have some limited edition tie-dyes up in here. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole bunch of gang of shit. I love you guys. I will see you guys Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you guys for always showing up for me. I appreciate you. It really does mean the world to me. I don't know if you guys really truly know that. If nobody's told you today, wait a second. This is my shirt.